Hello, you're watching Access, my name's Dan, and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist. Every week we take inspiration from a recent or upcoming release to spark a conversation about some of our favourite games. With Burnout Paradise making its way back into the proverbial driving seat with its PS4 remaster, we've been thinking about collectibles that we obsessed over. Here's Nath to start us off. Honestly, he just won't stop going on about this game.
Alright, well one not just collectible but collection of collectibles which I've recently been reminded that I was obsessed with, and indeed I'm obsessed with again, is in Burnout Paradise. Because Burnout Paradise Remastered is now on PlayStation 4, and I thought I would just have a little go just to see how it was. Cause I was
how did that work out for you?
I'm still having the go, so it's working out really well actually. I'm really enjoying it. Dave, the game's so good.
Yeah.
That is what we're here to talk about.
Okay.
It's so good, everybody. But it is a game based on, I think Burnout was like a racing series with a bit of violence, right? That was the whole point of Burnout. And then Burnout Paradise came along and it was open world and it asked something a bit different of everybody. And I think initially some people were like, do I like this? I want to do the takedown like races. Where can I? And they're only like dotted around the map.
That was you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was initially, and I tell you what they did. So they did like a year of DLC initially, and the game's way ahead of its time for a lot of reasons, and that's one of them. Like it was one of the first games to really commit to post-release content in a really big way. Not like 1 or 2 episodes, a whole year, and it culminated in this thing called Big Surf Island, which was like an addition to the map, when it was like a condensed version of all of Paradise City. And why that was so good, because I've been playing the game and enjoying it, and working through my licenses, because the more events you do, you kind of you go from like a D license to a Burnout license. On this Big Surf Island, they had a smaller number of, it was like a microcosm. There's some billboards, there's some crash gates, and they're called mega jumps, but like these super jumps that are same on the rest of the island. And it was like just a miniature version, and it gave you like a little sand dune buggy, which is much more maneuverable than the other cars that you might have been playing with. And suddenly it was like I understand what this game is trying to do now, and you can finish off Big Surf Island in like a couple of play sessions, and then it's like, now I'm going to go back to Paradise City, and I understand that so much of it is about verticality. It's like the crash gates are showing you shortcuts around the world that might lead to a route down here, and if you turn left here, and then there's a jump which will get you onto a roof which will do another jump, and that's how you get a billboard. It's also linked to, I think basically when I said it's a collection of collectibles, the other thing that Burnout Paradise does is it gives you cars. There are 75 in total, and you get them for doing events, but also for finding all the billboards, but also for like setting speed time, like certain records on. You go down a particular road very quickly, then that time is then yours. You do enough of them, you unlock cars. You free burn challenges online. So it's like this. I liken it honestly now to like Diablo 3 or something. It's like this, just accumulate. It's like a loot, like tombola. It's just this incredible, like, just spewing things I can collect. And I started playing it again, and I was like, within moments realised I was in trouble, and bedtimes were in danger.
Yeah.
And that's where I am now. So there's 500 free burn challenges, which are the online challenges you do with other people, which can be as simple as everyone go here, everyone jump over this gap, everyone jump over each other. And then as they top up, different cars get unlocked. It goes crazy. So there's 75 cars. I'm nearly at the platinum for the second time around.
Oh my God.
This whole world is like a collection of collecting things, and I'm in it and I live there now.
Don't everybody write in, but I've been a little bit rough and ready with the word collectibles this week. And instead it's something I've chosen to collect myself, which is, not the heads, no, Far Cry 3's outposts.
Okay.
More specifically, stealthily taking them down. Far Cry 3 is amazing, and I don't know, for me it was the first Far Cry that I really, really liked. I played Far Cry 2 and I thought it was quite good, and then Far Cry 3 came along and I was like, man, this is brilliant. And for lots of reasons, it seems like it had loads of innovations that are just in games nowadays. But probably my favourite thing was the outposts, which were kind of, extracurricular. You didn't have to do them, I don't think. Maybe occasionally you did to progress the story, but lots of them weren't anyway. They were just, off the critical path, and you could just do them if you wanted. And the reason I like them so much is because they were the perfect combination of puzzle and shooting men. Because you could just go in and shoot the men. And Far Cry 3 is really good at giving you different ways to shoot the men with like many guns, for example. But you know, explosives and you know, setting up little traps and all that kind of stuff. You can have a lot of fun with that. Letting you like recce the area with your binoculars or your camera, and you know, and like marking enemies and stuff. That felt quite new then, I think, and it gave you like that kind of tactical overview of like, right, where are these guys? They're, you know, so I'll come in from this side. There was all of that, but then there was also like, so there's that kind of tactical puzzle. Then also the developers definitely put stuff in, like a puzzle, you know, like they would put in animal cages which you could use, like, you know, but when did you choose to use them?
All the time.
Yes, quite often all the time. I mean, to be honest, it was quite a good way of getting a stealthy outpost done, because a tiger, whilst not stealthy once it's, you know, running around and roaring, isn't a man with a gun, and so they still didn't know that I was responsible.
Exactly.
I'm the real bad guy,
behind
not
the
the tiger, Steve, who I've since had to kill. Sorry, Steve, but Steve doesn't know good people from bad people. He just sees people. They were probably my favourite thing in the game, to the point that when I finished the story, I just wanted to play more of them, and I hadn't done them all yet, so there was lots of them still to do, so that was great. And then I enjoyed them so much I wanted to do them stealthily, and every time, you know, this is my usual kind of foray into stealth, is I start off stealthily, then it will go wrong, and then you just kind of tidy up at the end and you go, oh well. But with Far Cry 3, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to do everything stealthily because it was just so much fun, and I felt really cool afterwards. And it made it I think it, you know, something came up on the screen like, stealthy. That was stealthy, you. Hey guy, you did that real nice. And so that's what I went around collecting. But there's a kind of sad, unexpected end to this story, which is that the developers of Far Cry 3 realised how great the outposts were and how much people enjoyed them, and that a lot of people got sad once they completed all the outposts. So they then released an update which allowed you to reset all the outposts, and that is the opposite of collecting. That's like taking your collection and then throwing it out of a window and setting the window on fire. And so then I had to just stop. I had to go, I didn't ever reset because I didn't see how I'd end the loop, how it would ever end. After I'd done them all stealthily once. It's not like I didn't want to see them again, I desperately did, but I just thought I've got to move on. You know, there are other games out there.
So the first collectible that I can remember getting really obsessed with, and it was to do with my first ever platinum trophy that I ever got, was in Assassin's Creed 2, where you had to collect all of the feathers.
Oh yeah.
For some reason, I can't remember why.
Neither can I.
Why were the feathers dotted around just all the place?
Was it to do with the eagles?
I think so.
Feathers.
I think one of the training missions is help me find my feathers.
Yeah.
If you see any more, bring them to me.
Yeah, something happens.
There are loads of them.
Something happens early in the game, and all your mum's feathers just get scattered all over Italy, like in every place as well. So you've got to find them in all of the maps.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just, you know, obvious places at the top of towers and on bridges, and but I don't think there's an actual. Like, I don't think they're on the HUD, which is quite an un-Ubisoft thing to do.
It is.
Usually, you know, you bring up the map, especially in a new Assassin's Creed game, and you'd be like,
it's over here.
there's some leather over there.
Yeah, well done, you found me.
There's a feather over there, just we'll go and get it. But I don't think these feathers did have, like, any kind of symbols on the map. And I remember that because I remember I had to go online to, like, find the last few.
You used a guide?
I used a guide, yeah. Because it was the last trophy I needed for the platinum.
Oh.
I was like, I'm getting this platinum now. All I have to do is find these feathers.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I've ever used a guide for anything like that.
Yeah.
But I was just so obsessed with scampering everywhere and collecting these feathers. And, you know, I found like 80 out of 100 of them.
Yeah.
When you've got that far, you have to...
You know, the problem here is that you didn't follow the guide to get those first 80. So then... Were you going to places where there should have been feathers and then realising, oh, I've already got this?
Yeah,
oh.
That was the problem. Like, I had to, like, eliminate, you know, I've got this one. And sometimes, like, the guide wouldn't be that precise.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be, it's just over here, and I can't see it. Does that mean I've got it?
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to that one later and realise I hadn't actually got it,
yeah.
even though I thought I had. But it was quite cool because it allowed me to explore areas of the city that I wouldn't have otherwise explored, which is the whole point of collectibles, I think, in open world games, is they encourage exploration of other areas. But Assassin's Creed 2 was such a great place to explore anyway.
Definitely.
Venice, I think, to this day is one of my favourite open world cities. It's so evocative, so immersive. So it didn't particularly feel like a chore, but I do remember it was a good 2 or 3 days getting that platinum was spent just feather hunting.
Wow. My worry is that Ezio was just finding feathers, not his mother's feathers, you know, and she was just being petty. Just,
I might have got it completely wrong.
I found this one all the way over here. Well, I don't know how it got. Yeah, okay, thanks, Ezio.
So a collectible for me isn't because of a trophy, and it's not to unlock something else further along in the game. It's completely self-inflicted, and it's mainly through fear.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about Oblivion.
Right.
And Oblivion was probably the first RPG I ever played, so I didn't really understand how they worked.
Yeah.
And you go through the tutorial, and it's a chest. You have to unlock it with a lockpick. Here's the lockpick tutorial. Did that, and you do the whole sewer bit, and you go out into the open world.
Best bit.
And best bit. And one of the first real crates I came to that wasn't in the safety of the tutorial area was near a guard, and I tried to pick it and it failed, and I got arrested, and that was it. I was just in jail.
Yeah.
So then
Forever. Life lesson.
Then it was a life lesson. It was like, you know, when you have that dream that you're at school without any trousers on.
Yeah.
That's like a warning to always wear your trousers at school, right?
Yeah.
You think, you always check before you go to school. Are my trousers on? Yes, they are. That's fine.
That is what those dreams mean.
Yeah, definitely.
So from that point on, I became really obsessive about collecting lockpicks in the game.
I love a lockpick.
That's all I would be worried about, because I thought I don't want to be caught in a situation where, because if you break your last lockpick, the screen would like pull away and the guard would just interrupt what you were doing. Right. But if you broke one lockpick and you had another one in your bag, you could just go straight into the next one. So I always had to make sure I had all the lockpicks I could possibly carry, and they were really light, like 0.1 of a feather or something, whatever the weight was.
Yeah.
But it got pretty bad to the point that I would stop playing the main game, like the main storyline, just because I wanted to make sure I had at least 100 lockpicks at all times.
100?
Well, I had to be sure, man.
Wow.
I was never going to let this happen to me again.
You know,
because I wasn't like a thief class or anything. I was just like a burly warrior with not a great lockpick skill.
Yeah.
So the only way to be sure.
Maybe you shouldn't have been picking locks.
Well, maybe not. But I had to know what was in those chests. But the game kind of trolled me in a way, because I went to all this effort to make sure I always had this haul of lockpicks on me. And then about halfway through, I discovered there was a side mission that gave you a skeleton key, which all my prayers have been answered.
My God.
But I've also wasted like 6 hours collecting lockpicks that I don't need anymore. So I just threw them away.
Rob and I used to collect players in Pez's Master League, and then you deleted our save.
I didn't delete it.
No, I don't know why I brought that up. I don't know why.
Again.
I don't know why I said that.
Delete this tape. Delete everything.
It's like working with children. Let us know about the collectibles you obsessed over in games. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and join us again next week for another Tuesday checklist. Thanks for watching.